Welcome back everyone, I'm Jewel, and today we're in the Giants editor on the Jules Peaceful Valley map. It's an FS19 or Farming Simulator 19 map, and it's one I'm working on from scratch. And I'm basically putting in my roads now. They're not perfect as far as at the end of the road. I don't necessarily have it set up the way you might would, but at least I can get them to connect to each other. You could do it, the only way you would be able to do it, see, I'm using a Spline street constructor constructor where it conforms to the road, the ground, the road conforms to the ground. So when you use it, you could say stop the road here, like coming along, and stop it here, and then make another piece of this road have whatever type of markings you would have at the end of a road. Like say you have a red light or a traffic light, and you needed a little white line here, and then you might need different lines, crosswalk, whatever it is. You could then put these markers in to connect to this road to finish it out. But essentially there ain't no way to really do it any other way with this particular method. If you want to do it the way that you do it all at once while you're doing the road, you'd probably have to do it in Blender. But anyway, this is just another tutorial on me working on my map. It's a follow along. If you've been watching the different ones I've done, you can see the house we put in right here on this little spot. There's a shed, just different stuff. So basically I did this one. I did do it on screen, but I had ran into some trouble, so I figured out what it was, but I didn't figure it out quick enough while I was trying to record the video. So I'm really not going to post that one, just so I don't confuse everybody, because I didn't quite finish it out. But I want to show you what happened. If you'll look, when you click on this, see how you have all your planes. So basically, if you've seen the other videos, if you haven't, check it out on my channel in the playlist. It's called Spline Street Constructor, and you can see the video that tells you where to get the Spline Street Constructor application, and also where to get these markers. So if you've seen that, you need to watch that video if you want to learn how to do this, but then you need to watch the other ones to learn little tips about the errors that you could have during the process of doing this. So if you'll see that I clicked on that, then I click on the next one, it goes to the next one, and so on. But what had happened is, when I was telling it in the video, I was telling everybody when you hit Control D after you're finished putting this where you want it, Control D duplicates it and lets you drag it over to the next spot. Well, I did that, and I was telling you make sure that you keep them in order or whatever, and you don't accidentally make 2 or 3 all in one. If you hold Control D down too long, you make 2 or 3, and that's a problem, because then you got to make sure you pull the right ones out. So I ended up deleting 2 that I accidentally held it down too long. But what had happened was, whenever I went from, I duplicated too many, drug one out, I deleted 2, but on a different one I had duplicated, I accidentally drug, say, this one over here, or I had 2 and I drug out 1, and basically these 2 got swapped. So I clicked back on it after I duplicated it and drug the wrong one forward, is what I'm trying to say. So if I was to click Control D right here, but then somehow it clicked off this one, I clicked off this one when I came back, if it highlighted the one I had duplicated, that's a problem, because what happens is it got out of order. So it went from here and jumped way over here, and it should have been all in order. If you can understand it, every time you click it should be in order. So that's what happened, and you need to make sure you go down the list, click them just like that to make sure they're in order when you do it. So, and then we have this bridge here, and as you can see, I got it situated pretty good. These are probably the ones that are the most difficult. You gotta keep adjusting them. But you can see it kind of coming up here a little bit, but it looks pretty good. It's not too bad. I think it's decent. So I'm gonna call that good, and then we just came on up here. All I have to do is remove the markers. I just hadn't done that yet because if you remove the markers, see, once you're past making the road, you need to remove all these planes, which are called markers, or they're also called posts. But I don't want to do that yet in case I decide somehow to change something. And if you have them already laid out, you don't want to change it till you're ready. I mean, you don't want to delete them until you're sure this is how you want your road. So I could potentially decide, oh, I'm going to change the color or the paint or do something different or whatever. I'm just leaving them until I fully finish and decide, okay, I'm satisfied. Okay, because I could make them bigger, wider, whatever I needed to do. But of course I got it the right size for this bridge, so that worked out. So anyway, this is just the extra bridge. It was the wrong one, so I had to move it over. Alright, so what we're going to do is pick another road to get started on, and I'm going to show you a little bit more of me doing the road. I'm thinking I'll do this one. It's pretty short. Yeah, I don't want to go too far. This is the one you'll notice. This piece right here, from there to here, was in the video that I had made. I believe it was the second video showing you how to make a second road, because I had already made that road, and then I was showing you the second, how to do a second road. And as you can see, I have roadway 1 over here in the scene graph, roadway 2, 3, 4, 5. So now we're going to move on to 6. And what you're going to want to do is choose the road that you're going to go down, and you're going to go ahead, click create, transform group, and make sure it's highlighted. Come up here to the attributes, go in the name box, highlight the word transform, call it roadway 6. Alright, and then it's going to change it down here. Watch, popped up. Alright, now we're going to click file, export selection, and we're going to if it wasn't bringing you to this spot, which it won't when you first start, if you're doing your first roadway, which that's why you need to watch the first video so you can get the Spline street constructor and everything. But let me show you. It's going to be in downloads when you first do it. I made me a new folder called Spline Street Constructor Main 1 and Marker Main 1. Those are the two things you're going to need to do these roads. And basically you would click on it, open it up to the thing that you downloaded, the Spline Street Constructor, and then you're going to have this open. Then you're going to click down here and you're going to name it roadway 6, because that's what you're on. If that's not what you're on, then you would name it accordingly. Then you hit save, and now you have an i3D for it, and that's good. Now we need to come up here and click create and do a spline, and then click on the spline and call it Spline 6, and then alright, then it's going to change it. Then you're going to come up here and hit file, export selection, do the same thing. You're going to call it Spline 6, and the same thing, you find it the same way. You go to downloads, open up the folder you made. That's just my dog if you heard that. And then Spline Street Constructor, you're going to have it open here. Don't click on any of them, and then just name it, and it's going to be an i3D you need, and then you're going to hit save. Now once you've done that, you can go ahead and delete the Spline 6, so make sure it's highlighted and click delete. You don't need it anymore, not in here anyway, like that. Alright, so now what you're going to do is click on roadway 6, and you see this blue arrow there. You want it to face the way of this road. If you're going to start on this side and go that way, you want it to face that way. If you're going to start over here and come this way, you want the arrow to face that way. So we're going to, you probably could turn it, just turn it with this, grab that and turn it, but usually most people like to do it with the numbers, and so I'm going to do it with that. Click on rotate Y. I'm just going to pick a number, 80. Oh, how'd I get lucky? Okay, 80 it is. Alright, so 80 is the number for me. I'm not going to move it anywhere because we want it to stay zeroed other than the 80, okay? So leave it zeroed, and it's pointing the right way now, so that's the way we're going to go. So we're going to roll in right here and get ready. That's not even important. It technically could be painted out of the way. I could just roll down to get gravel, and you have to make sure the brush is on add. Put it on add and just get rid of that, because this is just a guide. That was just a marker showing where I was doing that other road too, just as a temporary quick road. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and click what we need because we got to import the marker. We're going to go ahead and hit file, import, and we're going to go back to downloads, go to the marker main 1 folder that you made, and go to the marker, and then it says post is what they call it. Still all the same thing. Marker is a post, and it's a plane. All those are the same thing. So all those words. So for this case, not in real life, but in the game's sake. All right, we're gonna hit open. It's gonna pop up plane down here. Once it pops it up down there, we're gonna click edit, cut while it's highlighted. Click on roadway 6. Gonna click edit, paste. Now we have it in our transform group. Excuse me. Alright, so now with it highlighted, the plane, you're going to hit Control B as in boy, and then left click right here on the road, left click again. So you can click once and then again, not click click, but just click like that. And then you're going to turn it, drag it however you need. And on the road, if you're going to have a road, say this road's coming along, you figure it's going to be right there is where the edge is going to be, so you're going to want to turn it just like the edge is going to be, and you're going to put that middle dot right where you think that road's going to meet up at. And another reason it's good for me not to delete these yet and finalize it, in my opinion, is because I don't have all these roads in, and once I do, if I need to refine it a little bit better and say this road's a little further over when I finish laying it, I can gently just move that over and resend it through the thing, and I'll have all my markers still there, and then I can get my new coordinates, and then bam, put the road down right where I want it. So basically you're going to imagine this line right here being where that other road is, and it's going to be right where this dot needs to be. So I'm going to pull it out pretty far just to see, and then what you're going to do is line this up as well pretty center. That's pretty good right there. And if your level you need to lower it, just lower it a little bit. Try to get it about like that from the ground. And look on this side, just check it. Now sometimes you have to tip it just a little just to keep it equal on each side. And then you're going to hit Control D as in dog and then let go. So you notice I just hit it real fast, let go. I didn't hold it down because it would have made too many of these planes, and then I would have had a problem because they would all got out of order. So now I can drag this one forward because it is highlighted as the second one, and that's the correct one. So if I click back over here, we're back on the first one, and then you can see it's the first one. Then click back on there, now we're the second one. So we know that's in the correct order. They need to be in the exact order that they should be. They can't be jumping around and be in a different spot in this list. They need to be right in order, 1, 2, 3, all the way down. Then we're going to turn this one a little bit, but we don't want to make a sharp turn because it can cause errors. So you want to do it a little bit, but not too crazy. And we're going to drag it over. Since it's pretty flat right here, it doesn't matter how far you go as long as it's pretty flat. Alright, this one looks pretty good. I guess we could go down a little. You could tilt it slightly, but that's pretty good. And I guess I'll tilt it back. Not that far. Alright, and now we're going to hit Control D, duplicate that one, drag it over, and now we can adjust this one a little more. Now this road I've got painted here is just an example. It isn't a mandatory road I have to follow. I just painted it to give me a guide of generally where I want the road, and all that is subject to change anyway. So okay, so that looks pretty decent. And then we're going to hit Control D, drag it forward, and try to get this road laid. We're going to tilt it a little bit, bring it over, just giving it a little bit of movement so everything's not straight. Alright, bring that down, Control D, and off we go, bringing it forward. But anyway, I hope everybody's been enjoying all these map making tutorials. If you haven't already checked out the channel, there's quite a few. There's one how to get the shed doors to work with the XML files, and you don't have to worry about that dip right there. It'll make the road flat, and we could adjust the road ground under it. So that part's okay. You could tip it a little bit up since we're starting to go uphill, but other than that, it's pretty good. Actually tip it a little bit more. There we go. So it's kind of going up the hill. Then hit Control D. But anyway, check out the channel. There's several videos there, quite a few actually, showing you. And then there's some the ones of the regular map making where I'm just going along doing the map. And pretty much, let me lower this one and see that one. It needs to go down a little bit. There we go. Alright, see how that one, we can bring it over a little if we want, tilt it a little, and then if we need to, we can lower it a little. And you could adjust this if you don't want the road to curve right there. Just make that lower on the road, and you don't have to have it like that. So, and then it could throw an error right here, but if it does, we'll take care of it. So it might throw one from this one to this one. So which will be good, so I can show you what to do. So, but anyway, I do Ranch Simulator, Trader Life Simulator, Gold Rush the game, and a bunch of other stuff. But I do a lot of tutorials. I show you how to get the XML stuff, some of the XML stuff to work. The wood chipper trigger and the wood cell trigger and just different things, you know. So just check it out if you like that kind of thing and want to learn. It also has have a video showing you what to get to be able to do the map making. So it like tells you some of the things you need or would be useful for you. So check that out. But anyway, appreciate all new subscribers. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe. It helps the channel and it'll help me continue to make all these map making videos and other videos. It just is an encouragement. I appreciate it. Please hit the like button, and we're growing really good, and I appreciate it. Welcome to all the new subscribers. Alright, so we're going to hit Control D, and we're going to continue on. Now you can see how high it's going, but we're going to bring it down, and we're going to tip this a little bit because the road level's changing. We're going to tip this and come down, tip this a little more. We could tip this one just a little, and about right there. We could bring it over a little if we like, and we just have a look at your road just to see if it needs any adjusting. I think it's good enough. We'll know when we try to do it. So, but anyway, we're going to go ahead and hit Control D, drag it out, and bring it down, tip it, bring it down some more, bring it forward a little, down a little, and you just keep picking these. You have to make sure you're grabbing the right piece that you want to move. You're going to want to tilt it a little bit with this green one. Could go over a little just to get it more situated. Come down where you can see it better, so then you know where to tilt it at or how far to tilt it, and then you can just adjust it from there. I'm going to hit Control D to keep going. I'm trying to show you in real time all of it so that you don't think, oh well, she did something else when it wasn't on screen. So you can see it's all you really do. You're not doing anything extra. I'm not doing anything off screen that would be wrong or that you wouldn't get to see. to where you wouldn't be able to fix it, because sometimes that happens. People do a little bit off screen, and then all of a sudden, oh look here, and then they didn't show you that. So I don't do that. I try not to ever do that. I try to make sure I show you what's going on. Control D. Alright, and then you can always click back to see that it's going in the right direction and everything on that list over there. So when it gets a little flatter, you can go a little further. So if it's pretty flat, see, now that's not, we need to go up, or it'll be under the ground on that. Okay, we gotta go up some more. Alright. Yep, we gotta go up. Alright, bring it back over. What you need to do is when the ground level changes, that's where you need to kind of stop the marker at, so that everything kind of situates. We're gonna move this a little bit down. Okay, Control D. And it's not too hard, it just takes some getting used to. So, and you're gonna have problems a little bit, so don't just give up when you see a road it looks ridiculously twisted or something, because it's not too hard to fix. You can just keep messing with it and you'll fix it. I mean, I'll show some of the fixes. Control D. I mean, I just keep messing with it and guessing at what's wrong, and I usually figure it out. So, you know, I'm trying to get that one a little more level. Let me see. Pretty good. Alright, click back on this one, lower it down. Since we're going down, so you need to tip it a little. And bring it down. It's almost like, some of it's almost like you're painting or something. You're doing a little work there, but it's really nice. I like the map making. It's fun. Now there's obviously a lot you have to do till you get finished with it, but it's all good. Control D, and on we go. Drag it down. Come on down here. Turn it this away and that away and every way. And bring it down and around and over. Getting some different angles and checking everything. And you can just see how that would make sense. And then you just come on down, Control D, and down the hill. And then once you get here, you're kind of hitting the bottom of this hill, so you can kind of turn it a little bit, get it situated, you know. And then should be pretty good once you get there. That could be an issue if we go too steeply, but I'm going to try to let it just level itself off if I can. And that should be pretty good. I think we should move it over a little. Let me get up here where I can see. Turn it a little bit. Move it over. Move this over. I think it needs to be tilted some more. Oh, not that one. There we go. There we go. Alright, click back on that. Control D. And move it forward. And as you can see, you gotta adjust it. Bring it back a little. And till you get it situated, just keep maneuvering it. And now we're getting into a more flat area, so that's gonna help. And just tip it till it looks right. Tip it that way a little. You can drag it over a little if you like. Just try to make sure you're not too far off from where all these are, because then you're gonna have all kind of problems. Now this one looks like it might need to be tipped a little. Maybe that's good. Then we'll come back on this one, Control D, and bring it down. And since it's pretty much flat, you ain't got a lot to do on this one, or don't have a lot to do on this one. And you can tip it around a little bit. And we're on this edge. Let me try a couple ways of doing it. There's a couple ways you can do it to get it to do that curve. Typically, I usually can get it to curve without doing it. I can just use the thing, so I'm gonna back off a little bit and see what we got here. Alright, Control D, and then I go up a little, tip it just a little, start turning it. And I don't have to follow this road, like I said, exactly, because I'm trying to get it a curve the way we need it. So I'm just going to be curving it as I go, like that. So I'm probably going to have to go better than that. That's not good. Okay. Now this one's not low enough. And this one's not either. Just be sure if you click off of it, you click back on it if you accidentally click off and didn't mean to. Alright, so that's decent. So we're going to hit Control D and go forward and turn some more and come over a little. Hopefully this is going to be allowed, but if not, there are other ways, and if worst case scenario, we could start curving here and just bypass that corner altogether. Now the other video that I showed you telling where to get these markers, he did a certain way and it made the curve, but when I tried that, it didn't quite want to work. I hadn't really tried a lot, so watch that video and maybe you can do it that way. But if not, you know, there's other ways of doing it if you have to. So, and I'm hoping that's not too big of a curve. It might be, but we'll have to see. And then Control D, drag it out, turn it, drag it over, and like I say, right here we may have a problem, but we'll see. And I'll show you a way to do it if you do. It's best to do it where you can see it. I don't mind the errors, so I can show you how to fix them. Because if I show you only how it worked for me, that's not going to help you. And you need to see when there's an error, so that if you have an error, you can fix it. And so I want to do that. I don't want to just show when it works. That's just not fair. That's just not fair. Alright. Okay, tip it up. And tip it up, not that far. And remember, some of that ground can be changed, so don't worry about it if it's not perfect. Or at least it don't look perfect right then. Now we might have some little trouble with this one because it is quite the curve, but we'll see. Sometimes it works just fine and other times not so much. You just have to look at it and see where are you at, how much of a curve have you done. And then Control D. And then turn it some more. Pull it over a little bit. Bring it down, tip it over, forward, down, and I think that's sufficient, hopefully. And then Control D, and then drag it out, drag it over, starting to turn it some more, probably pull it back a little bit, come in where we can see, and lower it. This one needs to be moved, I think, to get that curve just about situated. I don't know. That might be a little extravagant right there. Let's see. It has to be a certain way. It has to line up a certain way or it's going to be a problem. So I'm trying to adjust it accordingly. Just to make sure that it's situated right. Alright, see if that's pretty good. Come on down so I can see. Lift it up a little bit, tip it back a little bit. Alright, is this one too? Yeah, this one's tilted too much. Just a little bit. Bring it down. Alright. Bring that over. Alright, I think we're pretty good. Tip that. Hit Control D again. Bring it up. Now obviously this ground isn't quite where it needs to be, so we can adjust it or drag it over a little bit more. I can adjust that ground so I'm not worried about the ground. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and bring it down some. Take and hit subtract just to get it kind of where we need it. There we go. It's always just a little fix and then you can move right along. And we'll bring it down, tip it a little bit just to give it some difference. There we go. Alright, let's see what we got. I think that's pretty fair. I mean, it ain't quite what it needs to be. That one can turn a little more. But as you can see, you just keep adjusting and figuring. Alright, now we're going to duplicate this one and drag it. Tip it over a little and down. And that's pretty good. A little bit more. And Control D. And pull it forward, lift it up. Tip it back a little bit. Alright, drag it on out some more. And starting to turn it here. And as you can see, we'll probably go over just a little more. And have a look. Tip it up a little. Control D, and we're almost to the end. And then we can check it. Alrighty. Control D. And last but not least, now obviously this one actually I could have turned it to pretend that the road's going to be more a straight situation here. Let me straighten this. Let me paint that. So basically say the road's coming. I gotta get it on add. Coming along here. Like that. And we can try to just, we could just curve that actually straight into the end of the road there. Perhaps that's what we need to do since it's not going to really be an actual curve situation going on. Make sure these stay in order if you're going to adjust them, because you could run into some trouble. You don't want no trouble, do you? Alright. And pick the right one, bring it down. Alright, this one looks like it's a little bit too low. Come on now. Alright, and last but not least, we're going to pretend that this goes straight to there. And that right there won't be there. It'll be grass, or we could just do it. We'll go ahead and make it grass now. Rough grass, and just, and that's what our road's gonna look like right there. And turn that off, and then grab this, pull it over, and bring it back. Remember, this dot needs to be where the road's gonna be, so wherever you decide that road's going to be, you need to angle this lined up with it, follow the red line, and just imagine that dot's touching that road. So it needs to come a little further out than you would think, because that road's going to probably be out a little further, or maybe not. We'll back it up a little, but basically it's going to be out. And that looks pretty straight. Get in a little closer if you don't, this angle's not right. Just figure it out. And once you're done adjusting this, you can lift it up a little bit, tip it a little bit, and you should be good. And then say if you need to bring it over for that to line that up. That one looks a little bit messed up. Tip it a little bit. See, that's the kind of thing you got to look for. Just keep looking at them and deciding if they're too low or too high or tipped a little bit. Just got to look at them like that. I think that's pretty good. I think we'll have problems here probably on these two, and hopefully nowhere else. So now what you're going to do is you could go ahead and look back through these, like click on from the last all the way up and make sure they're actually in order. Okay, I think I had a problem. No, I didn't. I just skipped it. But basically, I'm not going to do that. So what you're going to do is click Roadway 6, File, Export Selection. You're going to go to Downloads, back to the Spline Street Constructor folder, and you're going to pick the Spline 6 that you made and hit Save and hit Yes, you want to replace it because you want this spline in there now. So it didn't even have a spline in there really, other than just being an i3D. And then you're going to come to Downloads. You're going to open up your Spline Street Constructor wherever you put it, and you need to make a backup copy of it. So just when you get it as a zip folder in this, when you make a folder for it, stick the zip folder in here. This one won't be here yet. You're gonna left click on it once, right click on it, click copy, take it to somewhere like the desktop, make a new folder on the desktop, title it Spline Street Constructor Backup or whatever, and that way you have a backup copy if something happens to it. You don't just lose the whole thing. And then once that's done, go ahead and come to the Spline Street Constructor that you downloaded and right click on it and click Extract All. Then it's going to open this. Then you come on down here. You won't have anything, but you'll have all this up to this 51. You won't have these road 51s I made. You won't have any of these roadways I made, and you won't have any of the splines that I made. But you'll have everything else. Then you're gonna, if you want to open it, you need to open it with that. Click on the application one, double click it, opens to this. I'm gonna minimize that now. Alright, so now you're gonna click on load parameter, and I don't know all the rest of the German language. And then you click Strasse for street. Click open. If you want it to have grass on the side, on each side of the road, or something that looks kind of like it's green like grass, then you're going to leave that one. It popped it up when you loaded it, and then you're going to click check mark over here, and then you click copy, and it puts the information from here to there, and then and this middle one is your road, and then you would have the green grass on the sides. But I don't want that, so I'm going to uncheck it. To me, it's the ground don't come up around it as good as you would need it to, so I don't like it. Alright, in this case, I had been making my other roads a 9. I think it was a 9. Might have been a 10. Can't remember now. I'll do a 9 for now, and if I want to change it, I'll change it. This is right here where this BREITE is where you change the width of the road, like this width. And then you're going to click here and call it roadway 6. Because that's the one I'm on. Then you're going to click on i3D, and you're going to pick roadway 6, click save. Then you're going to click on this road, this texture. I don't know what that says. And then you're going to click on that. Now these are the ones I made. This is the green one I was telling you about, verge. That's just grass, and that would be on these two corners. I made these in paint.net, these other ones. So if you want to see them, this is the one you'll have. Just the one road, 51, and it's plain. No lines, nothing like that. But I painted my own lines and everything in paint.net. I have a video about that, several videos, and you need to check them out if you want to do that. So if you want to make your own different types of road with lines, just look at that video in the playlist of my Giants Editor tutorials. Alright, so I'm going to select double lines because you wouldn't be able to pass. I have two here. This one I redid because it wasn't lining up properly, so technically I need to move this out of there, but since I know which one it is, it's double yellow line one, so I'm going to click it and then click open, and then you come on down, click this where it's the spline thing, and you're going to pick the spline 6, click open. And as you can see, there's a 1 here, and if you arrow it, you see 2, 3, and so on. Well, there's 30. See this 30? There's 30 of these markers, so it's telling you how many of these markers or planes or posts you put down. And each one has these X, Y, and Z translate on this side and rotate on this side. So as you can see, the translate and the rotate up here in the attributes box on the Giants Editor, and that's just each marker having its own exact coordinates that would match that matches its own in the Giants Editor. That's how it knows which way to angle it and stuff. So that's what that is. This is just showing that that's a flat road. You don't even have to click that button, but if you had these checked, then you would see, it would show you what it would be. This would be the road in the middle, then on this side of grass, and on that side grass. So if you took this one, if you close this and took this just one side away, then it would look like that. You would have a road with only one side of grass. So I don't want any grass on there because it was a difficult, horrible process of trying to get the ground up around it because of the way it was. The flat ones are much easier to make it look nice, so that's why I'm just doing the middle one, and that's it. So once you do that, if it's your first time of ever using this, you need to click this, and potentially it normally says 5, 5, 5, probably 5 there, I'm not sure, but put ones in the first 4 boxes. At least that's what I was told, and it seems to be working fine. But you can technically change it. I've seen other people change it to 2.5 in different spots, so you could play with it if you know a little more about what you're wanting to change. But for my purposes, I don't need to change it, so I'm just leaving it as 1. So I would recommend putting it at 1 in these 4. Leave the rest the same. Click OK, and you're good. I'm going to click cancel because I've already done it and it's already there, and I don't need to do it again. And then once all that's done, you've done all these things. Check that one, check your sides, put that one in. You've already hit that one obviously first, and then you took away the checks or added them if you needed them. Put your spline in and you're ready to go, so you hit go. And this pops up, and that means wonderful, you did something pretty close to right. And basically you can minimize it, don't X out of it, because you're going to want to keep coming back to it probably. So there's showing what you got. And then you're going to hit file, import, you're going to go to roadway 6, click on that, open. It's going to put it at the bottom. While it's highlighted, click edit, cut, click roadway 6, edit, paste. It's going to put it in there. Then you come over here while it's still highlighted down there, and on the translate Y, 0.47. It's going to bring it up, and it's not 100% under the road, but that's just because of how we angled it. But that's not a problem, because you just click on sculpt mode and make sure in your brush area that you have one on smooth, which I do. My right mouse button, RMB is right mouse button, MMB is middle mouse button, and left mouse button is this LMB. and I have, you normally would put subtract on the left mouse and then on the right mouse smooth, and then you do the smooth if you can, and then if it don't work, then you do a little subtract. But it's best to do smooth. But see, now it's not working on that one, so I'm gonna have to click subtract and then smooth again, then subtract when it don't work, smooth again, and then subtract if it don't work. And then basically, as you can see, the road is here and it looks nice, and it'll be fine when you meet up your other road, but I'll probably have to move it further out, but whatever. And basically you just come along, clean it all up using sculpt mode and the smooth tool, and just get it all nice and situated. Now you could, if you didn't like that curve on that road, you can straighten that. Just straighten the ground out and then make it accordingly, and you'll be fine. And as we move along, we're checking the road. As you can see, this turn worked, which is wonderful. We didn't have to do any of that other stuff, and we just knock all that off of there. Now we might have a little bit of a lifted road. Okay, so when this happens, see this little bit of a lift? You can kind of see it. It's like, oh no. Alright, so when you see that, wherever the lift is, you're going to want to bring that spot and tilt it just a little, even though it looks ridiculous. Alright, so that one is slightly, so we're going to click it too and tilt it just a little. And this one is a little more, we'll tilt it just a little. And then this one, that one's not too bad. We could adjust the road under that if we have a problem. But the rest looks pretty good right here. So we're good with that. Leave it alone for a minute. And we're going to run along. Checking everything. Going to go ahead and smooth it out. Subtract it if you have to. Alright. And then take it off. Run up a little bit. And smooth it again, subtract it again gently, because you don't want to go too deep. If you got this set, this is kind of high, you need to bring it on down so it's not taking too much at a time. But basically that's the point. But I'm gonna bring it back up a little because I'm in a little bit more of a hurry. Just being careful. I'm just tapping it when I do it so as to not take too much off of the road. But as you can see, our road looks nice, and we should be good. I'm gonna roll forward and get some more of this cleaned up, and just tap the left mouse button until you get it. You don't want to go too far, like I said. And you just come on down here and you can see the road's shaped the way we angled it. If you didn't like that, like I said, you could make this go down with the sculpt mode and you wouldn't have had to angle that marker, and it would have been fine. You didn't have to have it like that, but sometimes it's fun to do, so just depends on how you want the road to be, because sometimes roads do that. And as you can see, there you go, here's your road. And you just go on down. Now what we're going to do, since this little spot was a little bit weird, is we moved it already, but now it's time to redo it. So let's do it. And we're going to come down here, click on the roadway, make sure that's all that's highlighted, hit delete. I know you're panicking, don't worry. Click roadway 6, file, export selection, put it on the spline 6 because you want to rewrite it, and then you hit save. Yes, you want to rewrite it, write it, and then click on this little thing that has the application you had opened. And you don't have to change anything else if you wanted all that to stay the same, unless you're trying to change the width of your road. Like if you were going over a bridge and you saw it was too small of a road and you needed it wider, then you could change it here. But if you've already done the rest and you didn't X out of it, you don't got to redo it all. That's why I said minimize it. So now when you come back after you redid something, you can just click on this and then go down to the spline 6 and hit open. Then you hit go again and you're done. And you come back, gonna hit file, import, then you're gonna pick roadway 6, You're not going to pick Spline, even though that's what you would think you need. Hit roadway 6, open, and then it's going to put it down there. You're going to make sure it's highlighted. Click edit cut. Click on roadway 6, highlight it, edit, paste. Then you're going to come over here to translate Y, highlight it, 0.47, gets it up to where you need it. And then you can look and drive, and you're running along back down, and you can see it brought it right down to where we need it. See how the road is now? And if it's up too high, see it's still slightly up, but that's because we could have lowered that. But if that's good enough, and if it's level enough for you and you like it good enough, don't worry if the ground is not at the exact spot. Then you can move that yourself with the sculpt mode. Put it on add and then just bring it up. So don't panic, we'll adjust it. I'm just showing you how to get it on up there under it, so it's not like, oh, the road's not even in the right spot. So you can get it on up there, then you can address the sides if you went too high like I'm doing it on purpose to get the middle up. So now we got the middle up, we're going to come over and click on sculpt mode again, put it back on subtract, but when we subtract this time it'll be a gentle bit that we're taking away, and we're not gonna knock the whole middle out. You know, we'll do some on smooth if we have to, you know, and we're not gonna take it all the way. So now it'll be up around the edges, and then of course we can paint this gravel that we don't want there. We'll get rid of that, so don't worry about that. You can just paint it grass again or whatever you want, and you just do that until you get it. And don't worry about the markers, because if you're satisfied with this road and you look at it and you're like, yep, then what you're going to do is you're going to click on this plane, then you're going to hit control, and then just click while you're holding control, and just click all the way down. And I'm not going to go all the way down to the last plane. Then let go and click delete. It'll delete all these planes, all these white things, and then once you're done with that, you'll only have roadway 6, and you'll only have the bottom roadway 6, which it'll be up there at that point because you'll deleted all these, and that's all you need in there. And then when you're going to highlight the main folder here, transform group, and then you're going to click file, export selection with files. It's different on the last one. You do need the with files on this one when you do the last export. And then when you click it, it's going to ask you where you want it to go, and you're going to take it. I'll show you. You're going to take it to wherever your map is. So mine's in Documents, My Games, FS19, Mods, and Joel's Peaceful Valley, and Maps. And then it would be, in my case, I would put it in Objects folder, but you can put it wherever you want. And then you would hit OK or whatever, and it would do it. Then what you would do, you'd come back in here after you exported it with files. You would click File, Import, click File, Import, and then you would go back to that Objects folder we just put this new road in, and click on it and bring it back into the map. And then you can delete the other one and keep the new one you just imported in. And the reason for that is to give you all of your correct path. It'll make your path be where that road's supposed to be looked for, so it'll read it and know where to find it. So that's what your point is in taking it out with the files and bringing it back in, because you can't just leave it like it is. I mean, and sometimes you could, if the path is right. If the path isn't right, you got to do it that way. But what you do though also, if once you bring it back in, if the somehow the road is in the main folder, then you would need to put it in there. You would have to cut it and put it in there, but should be in there all as one, I would think, when you brought it back in. But since I'm not deleting mine yet, I can't say for sure, because I'm not ready to do that, because I want to keep my roads markers in place in case I'm changing something. See, I could change something and then I'll be like, oh, I don't want to do that. So I want to keep my roads markers in place in case I'm changing something. See, I could change something and then I'll be like, oh, I don't want to lay all these down again, so I might change this road a little or do something extra or stop it there and add something to the end. Then I don't have to lay it all down again, so I'm leaving it. But if you're satisfied with the road, go on and do that last step where you finalize it. But anyway, I appreciate everybody. That's how you do it. And there's your road. You got your curve and everything, and you can adjust it how you will. And it pretty much fit the road the way we wanted. And then I got a lot more roads to do, as you can see. And then of course these bridges, got all these to do. That's a long road. I probably might do that one off screen. It'll be way too long of a video. But anyway, we've got a lot of roads, and then there'll be other little dirt roads that we have other places later on. But I appreciate everybody. Appreciate all the new subscribers. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. You're welcome to come and join us on these map making journeys and these other simulator game videos and watch. But appreciate it, and I'm going to catch you on the next one. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on your notification bell if you want to receive a notification every time I post a video. Goodbye, everybody.